It started with a flash, a camera click, a single moment captured between two people who once shared everything, and had spent years pretending they didn't. Lee Min-ho wasn't supposed to be there that night. The award show had been a last-minute decision, one his team debated for hours. But fate has a strange way of arranging reunions, doesn't it? Because across that glittering stage, under the glare of lights and applause, was Kim Go-eun, dressed in quiet elegance, smiling that same gentle smile he used to know so well. And for the first time in years, he couldn't hide it. The emotion, the ache, the memories, all of it came rushing back. And yes, the cameras caught everything. The moment the two locked eyes, time seemed to stop. She bowed politely as she always does. Graceful, poised, distant. He nodded, forcing a smile. But the crack in his composure was impossible to miss. He tried to look away. He really did. But there was something about seeing her again. The same voice, the same presence. That reminded him of all the years that had passed in silence. And somewhere behind those camera flashes, the man who once played kings and lovers looked like just another heartbroken soul seeing his past again. Fans were the first to notice. One short clip circulated online within hours. A zoomed-in moment where Lee Min-ho's eyes glistened as he clapped for Kim Go-eun's award. The video was titled, "Lee Min-ho Tears Up Watching Kim Go-eun's Speech." And though his agency quickly dismissed it as bad lighting, the truth was visible to anyone who dared to look closer. He wasn't acting. He was remembering. After the show ended, Kim Go-eun exited quietly through the backstage corridor. She didn't know he was waiting there. No one did. Reporters later claimed they saw him standing by the hallway, hands in his pockets, head slightly bowed. When she passed by, he looked up, and for a split second, the walls they'd both built crumbled. There were no words, just eyes, just memories, just 1,000 unsaid things hanging in the air between them. And then, as quickly as it began, she walked past him. Professional, composed. Her perfume lingered, faint and familiar. That's when he broke. Cameras from a fan channel captured what happened next. Not the dramatic kind of breakdown the tabloids exaggerate. No shouting. No scene. Just a quiet, devastating collapse of emotion. As soon as she disappeared behind the elevator doors, Lee Min-ho turned away from the hallway lights. He covered his face. And for a moment, just a brief human moment, he let himself feel it. The weight of everything unsaid. The years apart. The love that had never really gone away. The video, only 15 seconds long, was enough to send fans into a frenzy. Because this wasn't the polished star they knew. This was the man behind the image. Raw, exposed, and heartbreakingly real. People started piecing together the story. How they hadn't appeared together publicly since the final press event of their drama years ago. How every rumor since then had been carefully silenced. How both had stayed loyal to their work, while quietly avoiding any intersection of their worlds. Until now. And fate, cruel and kind as always, had decided to bring them face to face again. Not in a movie scene, but in real life, with cameras rolling. Those who were close to Lee Min-ho say he didn't speak much after the event. He sat in the car, staring out the window, replaying her speech in his mind. She had thanked her co-stars, her fans, her director. And then, in a softer tone, she said something that wasn't in the script. Some people come into your life to remind you of who you are. And even when they're no longer beside you, their presence never leaves. The crowd clapped. But to him, those words felt personal. Almost like she was speaking directly to him. Maybe she was. In the days that followed, the media went wild. Headlines screamed. Lee Min-ho caught crying backstage after seeing Kim Go-eun. Hidden feelings resurface. The reunion no one expected. His agency denied everything, of course. They said he was simply tired, emotional from the performance, or moved by the event's theme. But fans didn't believe it. Because for 8 years, they'd watched him hide his heart behind professionalism. And that night, the mask finally slipped. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered of a deeper story. A love that had quietly ended. Not because they stopped caring, but because they couldn't survive the pressure of being watched by millions. They had promised to stay friends. But time has a way of testing even the gentlest promises. And now, seeing her again after so long, it was too much. Too sudden. Too real. One stylist who worked that night shared a small, heartbreaking detail. She said after the event, Lee Min-ho asked for a moment alone before leaving. When she returned to check on him, she found him sitting in silence, looking down at something on his phone. It was an old photo. A candid shot of them laughing together on set. He had kept it all these years. No filters. No edits. Just them unguarded and happy. He stared at it for a long time. Then quietly locked his phone, stood up and said, "Some memories are better left untouched." Meanwhile, Kim Go-eun's behavior that night was equally telling. Observers noticed her expression shift the moment she saw him in the crowd. She hesitated before walking up the stage, as if her heart recognized what her eyes were trying to deny. During her acceptance speech, her voice trembled for a second. That one crack that betrayed all the feelings buried deep inside. And when she left the venue, she avoided interviews, skipping the after-party completely. Hours later, she posted a single story on her private account. A blurry photo of a moon above the city skyline. The caption read, "Familiar faces, familiar feelings." Fans knew. They always know. By morning, social media was flooded with side-by-side edits of them from the award night and their old drama days. The parallels were uncanny. The glances. The smiles. Even the way he reached out almost instinctively when she passed by. As if his heart still remembered what his hands once held. Some stories, it seems, never end. They just find new ways to ache. For Lee Min-ho, that night became a turning point. Friends say he took a short break afterward, skipping interviews and public events. Not out of shame, but because he needed to breathe. He once said in an old interview, "When you love someone deeply, time doesn't erase it. It only teaches you how to carry it quietly." And maybe that's what this was. A quiet reminder that love doesn't vanish. It changes shape, it hides beneath duty and pride. But it never truly dies. Weeks later, Kim Go-eun appeared at a film premiere. She looked radiant, calm, collected. But reporters noticed something small. A delicate silver ring on her right hand. The same ring she wore during the press tour of their drama years ago. Coincidence? Maybe. But the internet didn't think so. They called it, the ring that never left. When asked about the viral moment of Lee Min-ho tearing up, she smiled faintly. Her answer was soft, almost wistful. Some people are special because they make you believe in sincerity again. I'll always be grateful for that. D.